Hi viewers, let's see the app we are going to develop in the next couple of lessons. The app is connected to the Firebase database, right? And you will see there's a main menu where you got employee options and listing all employees. This table view controller we have put here, right? And when you click on employee details, you will be taken to a page where you can add, insert, search, delete employee data, right? So let us say in this Firebase database, you can see in the background, let's say I want to search for records and delete them, right? So let's say I select one and search. You can see it loads the data from the database. And let's say if I delete it, right, it deletes the data from the Firebase real-time database. That's awesome, right? So let's start. Let's say if you want to insert a new record, right? So you can say employee number one, let's say Anne, right? And let's say a salary of 50,000, right? And let's say Anne is from Melbourne, right? Awesome, right? If you click save, you can see it real time updates a Firebase database. That's wonderful, right? That's about search and delete. And let's say if you want to change the salary of J, right? So you say you can search for J first using the app, right? Let's say you search and it says salary of J is 30,000. Let's say you want to make it to 40,000, right? Let's say you're going to make it, change it to 40,000 and just click save, right? You will see that it gets updated in the real-time database. That's awesome. That's wonderful. So save, delete, search functions are working. Not only that, you can just go and change a few stuff. Let's see. Awesome. So then once you are done with that, you can swipe it and list all the employees, right? That's another feature of the app we are going to develop. So you can see the data. Say, let's say you got 1, 2, 4, right? So let's say see one Peter, Anne, and Jay is there. Let's swipe this down and let's insert a new record, right? Let's say we insert record number 3. Let's put some sample data here. Okay, so let's save the data for Frank, right? Awesome. And now if you swipe down and if you go and check the list of employees, you can see Frank is there. That's an awesome feature of this app, right? And there's another nice thing of this app, right? Another awesome feature. So if multiple users, just assume if multiple users are viewing this app, right? The app you are going to develop has real-time synchronization features, right? Just assume these are two users using the app, right? And if one user add a new employee, let us say a new employee record, let's go to the bottom, say employee record 5, let me put the data first. So just assume if one user save, see what will happen to the other user phone, right? So if I click save Mary's details, awesome. See, the database got updated and on real-time synchronization, the next user will see the data being inserted, right? So that is an awesome feature of this app you are going to develop. But it's very important that you have to make sure to look at the next couple of lectures in Firebase database programming, that is part 2, part 3, until we complete this app. It explains all the theory and the practical knowledge which you need to know about developing this app, right? Okay friends, we are very excited to show you how to develop this app practically, and let's do it now. Okay viewers, so the following is the outcome of this part of the lesson. When you complete this part of the lesson, your app will look like this. Until you complete the other parts of the lesson, it will display the list of employees from your database. Say we got a database with list of employees, it's going to display the list of employees from your database and it's dynamically getting updated. When you change the data in the database, this will get updated, right? So the real-time data synchronization will be happening in the running app. It's already there, but for me to demonstrate it, I will be using the next lesson, right? So just wait until the next lesson to see that as well. Okay, let's see how to do it now. But after you complete this lesson, make sure to look at the next lessons in order to complete the full app demonstrated earlier. Let's do the rest of the changes, right? So I want to read all the data of what's my document, right? So my document is employees, as you can see, right? So I want to read all the data of employees document, but I want to list all the data. So that means I don't want an individual child. So I want all the children of employees. So that means I have to delete this part, right? So if I delete this, I have to delete this bracket also. Be very careful when you do this. And then I have to delete this bracket, right, as well. So what I'm telling is read all the data from employees, right? Awesome, right? And it's observe event type, so it will read multiple times whenever the data get changes, right? And now let's go and modify the rest of the code. So now what I want to do is, I don't want this line also, because I don't want an individual value. I want to read all the children of this document, right? So now with our previous lessons, you know, this snapshot parameter in the block will have all the data of this employee document, right? What I have to do now is, I'll have to take this snapshot, right, and call a method in that and get all the data. So now, you know, with our previous discussions, when I say all the data, that means all the child nodes inside this document, because the document is employees, then these are child nodes. This is the first child node, second child node, third child node, and the fourth one. Of course, the employee number is 5, but if you take it as a node, this is the first child node, second child node of the employees, this is the third child node, then this is the fourth child node. So I have to read all the children of this data I receive in the snapshot, which means if you look at the API documents, let's see what's the method in the API documents, read all the child nodes. So if you look at the API documents in the FIRE data snapshot, because this is a snapshot, a FIRE data snapshot, right? You will see there's a method called children. So what it gives you is an iterator for snapshots for all the child nodes in this snapshot. You can use the native for in syntax. So that means it's suggesting us to use this syntax to read all the data, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to copy this, right, from the API. I'm going to copy this and read all the children and iterate through all the children, and then I'm going to fill my NS mutable dictionary with the data, right, which I'm getting from this, right? That's the plan. So now I'm going into my code, and this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to iterate through all the children which I received from this document. Now what did it say? It said it's an iterator, right? So what it gives is, when in the iterator you got FIR data snapshot again. So you are, from the children you are again getting child by child, and a child is of type again FIR data snapshot once again, right? Now so once again, when you are in this, now you got a child, meaning a child. If you want to visualize the child, when I say child, it is a child object, like see a child, right? First child, second child, so third, I got four children, for example. Now so each child, what do I want, right? Now for each child I want to take the child and fill my NS mutable dictionary, right? Now in order to do that, what I'm going to do is, if you look at this, when I get a child, again it's a FIR data snapshot. So again I had to look at this method. So once again, when I get a child, because it's a FIR data snapshot type, same type, then see, I can get the key, right? I can get the key and the value. So when I say key, it will give me the key of the node, which is this number, that is the key. And then when I say give me the value, right, it will give me this part as the value. That means address, name, and the salary. So the key and the value will be the name, address, and the salary. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for the key and the value. And if I ask for the key is of type NS string. So I have to store it in NS string, right? Now let's do it now. Let's store the key in a NS string. So I request both the key and the value, and I put the key into NS string. I put the value into NS dictionary. Why did I put it into NS dictionaries? When I ask for the value, it says it gives the value of the native type, right? So because I got a collection of items, like see, I showed it's collection of key values, then I will be putting my value will be a dictionary. So I'm going to put it to NS dictionary, right? So now I got the key and the value, right? Now what do I have to do? What I have to do is, now I have to fill my NS mutable dictionary. Let's do it now. So what I'm doing now is, on my because I got a obj NS dictionary list of employees. So for that, right, I'm going to say self, because I am in a block, I have to refer it explicitly. I'm going to say set the object. The object is this one, right? So let's say this is the employee details, EMP details, let's say, right? So I got it as employee details, so I'm going to put it as user details for that, for the key. So this is how you set an object for a given key in a NS mutable dictionary, right? Is how you set. Now for this key, for I put this value for this dictionary. Awesome. Now it's a loop, so it will loop all the children and put all the nodes for each key into this dictionary. Awesome, right? Let's see what's next. What I'm doing next is I'm just printing that NS mutable dictionary just to see whether I'm getting the values, right? I'm just printing it, right? I'm just printing to see whether I'm getting values. Now what's next? Let's see what's next. So assuming I have got the data now from the database, and assuming I have filled it into my NS mutable dictionary, now my next step is to go and dynamically update these sections, the number of rows. I have to dynamically say get the count, right, of that dictionary, right, and decide the number of rows and then give the cell values. Now let's touch that part, right? So in the number of rows in section, what I did is now I'm counting the data items in the NS mutable dictionary, right? So if I receive, when I say counting the data, which means this is like one node in the dictionary, this is second node, third node, fourth. So according to my current data, I should get a count of 4, and then I should see test data printed 4 times because it's 4 cells. So if all is correct, I should see 4 data items printed as test data. Let's see whether at least the test data is going to come now. So I'm going to run and see whether I'm going to see that outcome. So when I run, it's very strange that I don't see any data items, right? But you remember I put a NS log and I output, after reading all the data, I have output the content of the dictionary. Two things here. Now first thing is I don't get anything as in the table, but I log, and if you look at the log message, it's outputting, see, it's outputting the dictionary content. That means the data is in the dictionary, and so that means when I output here, it's there. But the problem is in the table view there's no data. Why there's no data in the table view? At least not even a single test data, because for some reason if the count is 0 here, then this is the result. Now my doubt is whether the count is 0. Of course I can see the data, but I need to see the count. So I'm going to print the count here and see whether the count is 0, just to clarify my doubt. Okay, so I'm printing, I'm putting NS log, and I'm outputting the count, right? Let's run and see what's the count, just because it's not giving the output on curiosity. Okay, still the data, the output is 0, but I can see the stuff has been printed here, and see my curiosity, my doubt is correct. The count is 0. Now the doubt is how come the count is 0, right? When you print the count of the mutable dictionary 0, but you can see it has data, because when you print the data after connecting to the database and reading, when you print the data, it has printed the data. So instead of count being 0, the count should be 4, because there are 4 nodes here, right? So instead of 0, it should be 4, but it's 0. So now why is it like this? Let's see why it is 0, right? Now it's 0. So that means data has been printed, but over here when you are counting, it says it's 0. Now how can this happen? So I will explain it to you. Now when you say read the data from the database, you have put a block here. These are blocks. If you don't know what are blocks, look at our lesson about blocks in this series, a previous lesson. So when you have a block here, the thing is this block, okay, when you call this method and when you say connect to the data and observe events, and when you have a block, what will happen is this block will run in the background, right? It's like multi-threaded applications, so the block will start running in the background. So when you connect to the database and when you have given a block, of course the block will start running in the background, but what will happen is it will not stop here until it finishes this block. What I mean is it will not complete this before doing the other task. In other words, what I'm telling is this: when you have a block, it runs in the background and other tasks also will execute. Now it's clear to you, right? When I say other, while it's running this block, when I say the other tasks also will get executed, what are the other tasks? Such as calculating the number of rows in the section and number of rows. So while this block is running, because it's running in the background, what will happen is it will also execute this method. And there's a high chance that it will give a count of 0 because it's still running this block. Because when this block completes only, you will get the data to the dictionary. So while the block is running, if it also runs this in parallel, while the block is feeding data to the dictionary, but in the at the same time, if it's running this part also, like a multi-threaded application, what will happen is there's a chance of getting count 0. But why is it printing the data? Because it's printing the data because when the block completes its execution, as a last thing before in the block, I'm telling print it. So it can print the data, it will print, but sometimes this code might have been executed earlier before the block gets completed, so that by the time it when it's calculating the count, it might be 0. But after few milliseconds, maybe this gets populated with the data. That is what's happening here. So how can I avoid this? So to avoid this situation, what I have to do is, knowing this, what I have to do is, I can put one extra command here inside the block. That is, after the block completes, I would like to reload the table view. So for example, even the count is 0 and it gives an empty table view, just like here. But let us say at the end of the block, if I say reload the table view, then it will again reload it with the data. So when you reload it, let's put that command now. So the command is, you say self.table view reload. So when you call reload, it will again load the table view, and definitely by that time this for loop is completed, because this is after the for loop inside the block. So then you might get the high chance of getting the data back, right? Meaning the data is there now. Let's run and see whether it works. So keep that trick in your mind. Awesome, viewers. So the trick has worked. Why does it print test data 4 times? Of course, my cell is just test data. I'm not still reading the data. See, it's printing 4 times because I reloaded. And why is it 4? Because in my database, I had 4 data items. So what has happened is, when I read the data here and fill the NS mutable dictionary, it has filled 4 nodes in the dictionary. So that now when you count over here, when you count, it has given count of 4. That is why it has created 4 cells, and each cell has test data because I have just put test data. Awesome, friends. Now you know the trick. Now my next step is, instead of test data, I have to print the real data. Let's see how to do that part. So the first thing I would like to do is, I would like to get the employee number and print it. I mean, display it in the text cell. So for that, I'm writing this command. What am I doing here? What I'm doing here is, from my NS mutable dictionary, right? It has key values. I'm getting all the keys because I have populated it now, right? Over here, I have already populated I have read the data and populated it. So from the populated dictionary, I'm getting all the keys. But now I want to, when I create a cell, I want to get keys one by one. So as a trick, what I'm doing is, I'm getting all the keys and I'm referring to the current cell's index path, row number. So you look at our previous lessons on table views controllers to understand what this. I'm getting the row number so that I can get key by key corresponding to each row of this cells. So I'm reading effectively, because it's running multiple times depending on the count. Every time it reads, say, the first one, second one, third. So it gets row by row, one by one. Then from the dictionary, I'm reading item by item by giving this, right? So you have to look at the table view lesson to understand this. So now I got the employee number, right? Awesome, right? And the next thing is, I need to get the other data. Let's get the other data now. So what I'm going to do now is, I have to get data item by item, and I have to append into a string, because I have to get the employee number, name, salary. So because of that, I need a NS mutable string, right? I'm going to call it as employee data. So I'm creating NS mutable string. And to the NS mutable string, I'm going to append my first data item, employee data, right? I'm going to append it. Now I'm just going to show you, if I display this employee data now instead of the test data, I should see at least the employee number displayed for each employee. Let's see whether it works. And then I'm going to add the other parts, such as the employee name, salary. I'm going to add one by one to the NS mutable, right? See guys, it's working. 3, 1, 2, 5, right? Of course, it's not in order. We can order it later, but see, I got 1, 2, 3, 5. So I'm getting them, right? I got 1, 2, 3, 5. It's not in order. That's another thing to tackle, right? But I'm getting, now I need to get the rest of the data, such as the employee name and stuff like that. Now, where are my data? My data is in the NS mutable dictionary. So I have to read the dictionary and get the data. Let's get them now. Now I'm going to read the name. So once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the data and append it to the NS mutable string. So what I'm doing, first thing is, after the employee number, I'm going to put a comma. So I'm going to append a string as a comma. Then see guys, see viewers, from the dictionary, it's a dictionary is accessed with key value pairs. So in my dictionary, the key is the employee number. How do I say that? Because when I read the data from the database and when I put the data to the dictionary, see, I said the key is the key of the child. The key of the child is the employee number. So because of that, I can access it by giving the employee number. And then inside that employee number, what do I have? I have again key value pairs, name, salary, address. So that is what I'm doing here. For that key, I'm going to get the name. So I'm getting the name, right? And I'm appending it to the string. So now I will do the same thing and get the salary and the other data. And also I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put a comma in between, right? So I added that. So I put a comma, then I got the salary and the address appended. Let's run and see whether it gets me all the data now, right? But keep in mind, at this from line number 67 to 73, what I'm doing is I'm reading the data from my dictionary, right? Because I have connected the database and filled the dictionary with the data. So now my table view will be dealing with the dictionary, because for the table view, the data source is the dictionary. For the table view, the data source is directly not the Firebase database. I'm reading the Firebase database and I'm filling the dictionary. And for my table view, the data source is the dictionary, not the Firebase. It's not directly the Firebase database. But of course the dictionary is filled with the Firebase database content. That's true, right? But I'm explaining. Awesome viewers. It works, right? Great news. It has worked. Now it has read all the data. Awesome. So that's how you read all the data, right? And let's see what's next. Okay, viewers, we completed the practical demonstration. The conclusion is we learn about searching and listing data, right? So as you saw, we did the searching and listing, but I removed the synchronizing with the real-time updates. That is because I will be discussing it in the next lesson, right? So I removed that point. So we discussed the APIs, and we looked at FIRE data snapshot, observe event type, and we saw how to read the data, right? And we did some practicals, and you can find the link to download the source code for the projects done in this session in the relevant download section in this series, right? Reference Apple Developer Docs. What's next? It's very important to have a look at the next lesson to complete this app. Have a look at our other videos for practicals on Firebase as well. Have a look at our other videos on Objective-C. Also make sure to have a look at other series on machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, and IoT, because that's where the future is moving. Okay, viewers, we are very excited to see you in the next lesson. Let's see you in the next